36 years after Hydramethylnon, Diffusion of Innovation, and baiting strategies, all on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Happy 4th of July to you all. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day off and you're enjoying yourselves, celebrating the independence of this great nation from the tyranny of the British government. And I hope that we continue to enjoy the liberties that were gained through many conflicts. And today we can celebrate a day like this, saying that we are free. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I do have an exciting podcast. We're going to be discussing a lot of exciting things that are happening, that have happened, and that are going to happen in the future of the pest control industry. And I like to give out a couple of shout outs today. The first one is to Modesto Maidike. Modesto Maidike is a leadership expert, speaker, author, dancer, former faculty at Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and president emeritus of FIU, co-founder and CEO of Analog Devices and Semiconductor here in Miami. And he has liked the podcast, and I thank you for liking the podcast, for listening. Thank you for that. And also Woodbury Pest Control out of Woodbury, New York, is following us on Twitter. And thank you for following us. And also David Charlton from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, is following us on Facebook. So thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate all the likes, all the love that you guys are giving us, liking our stuff, sharing it. Head over to pestgeekpodcast.com. Hey, take some of those podcasts and share them with some friends. Share them with your competitors. Get everybody exposed to it. I really do appreciate that. If you want to join the conversation, the phone number to call is 707-395-7378. And there you can leave a voicemail 24/7 and give us your questions, your comments. Even if you don't like something about the podcast, let me know. I want to hear about it. And the tech tip, if you use gel baits and you're having a heck of a time reaching in far back places where the bait needs to go in the crack and crevice, way back in a cabinet, up on high cabinets, and you're not reaching it, there's a great bait gun and extension available it's called the Tech Reach Bait Pro gun. And I got a link to it. You can check that out. It's about $80. I think it's well worth it. If you're, I'm going to get this gun because I've been looking at it for a little while, and I have to get underneath cabinets and I have to reach way in the back. And it's so much easier when you've got about 18 to 20 inches of extension on that. So I think it's a great product. Check that out. On the SEO, if you're doing article writing and you're getting stuck writing, the reasoning is you're probably trying to do writing and editing at the same time. And it's one of those things where the brain can't do two things at once. So free writing is a way to get all your thoughts on a paper and then worry about doing the editing later, correcting the grammar, correcting the spelling. Don't do any of that when you're writing and you're trying to be creative. It just stifles your creativity. It's a great book. That I love this book, Accidental Genius, Using Writing to Generate Your Best Ideas, Insight, and Content by Mark Levy. Not only does it help you become a better writer, but it helps you think things through, come up with new ideas, come up with concepts, come up with strategies by using free writing. Phenomenal book. Get it using our link at PestGeek, actually at audibletrial.com/PestGeek, and you can get a free book and a free trial on us. In the news, the American Mosquito Association, the AMCA, has declared National Mosquito Control Awareness Week from June 26th to July 2nd. So we just missed it last week. But the goal is to educate the general public about the significance of mosquitoes in their daily lives and the important service provided by mosquito control workers throughout the United States and worldwide. There's a link on that from Entomology Today that put that news out there. Also, on the mosquito, there's a new bacterium. It's called Wolbachia, and it prevents mosquitoes from transmitting the Zika virus. They found that mosquitoes carrying Wolbachia were less likely to become infected with Zika virus after feeding on viral blood, and those were infected were not capable of transmitting the virus in their saliva. So this approach is now being tested in 5 countries: Australia, Brazil, Colombia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. The W-Mel strain of the Wolbachia reduces transmission of Zika virus by Aedes aegypti. Check it out. There's an article on that. The full study is available from nature.com, an article. Check that out. Also, Oxford Journal of Medicine, collection of 6 studies of Asian tiger mosquitoes. It can tolerate colder weather. It is found as far as New York and New Jersey. It has the ability of transmitting the pathogens that cause the Zika, dengue. So Oxford Journals has posted this, and I think it's very important that we understand that it is not only the Aedes aegypti mosquito that is able to transmit these diseases, but potentially these other mosquitoes are able to carry it too because they are similar. So check that out. Keep informed. Keep your customers informed of what is going on regarding mosquitoes. There's a lot of misinformation out there. You can be one of those that keeps everybody, kind of sane and not going crazy about what is, but understanding that there is a risk and they need to know the facts. So I think with the science that is available coming up, we'll keep informing everybody of what is happening. Also, events upcoming. What's Bugging South Florida? This is an event we're sponsoring July 14th, 2016, just in just 10 days. There'll be breakfast prizes. There'll be a couple of manufacturers there joining us. There is a link finally on the site to the to Eventbrite so that you can link to it and get your tickets. It's $5. And, we'll be discussing, the issue with, classes and class, understanding how classes work, to control, insects, to prevent resistance, to pesticides. And we'll be talking all about that and plus other products that you can use in your rotation for general household pest and lawn and ornamental. We'll be discussing both issues. We want to talk about Hydramethylnon. It's one of those products that is starting to be used, but it's taken a long time for this product to take off with a lot of people. It's been about 36 years since it was introduced. And the reasoning that this pesticide, this insecticide, is not widely used is because it has very, very limited usage. It's not available for a broadcast spray. It's not available for an insecticide of fogging or misting for lawn and ornamental. It's just not available. It's only available in bait formulations, whether it's gel bait or it's available in granular bait. And I think that's been one of the keys of limiting the overuse of this product and not having a wide resistance to it, as a lot of other products that are either younger than this, 10, 15, 20 years, and, they're overused. So it's one of those, it belongs to the chemical family, the aminohydrazone. It's a class 20 insecticide. It's slow-acting, toxicant. The way it works is the mitochondrial complex 3 electron transport inhibitors, which causes a decrease in physical activity as well as a decrease in respiration. This insecticide is a non-repellent, and it is not like the class 2, like fipronil, or a class 3 pyrethroid bifenthrin, or a class 4 neonicotinoid imidacloprid. So it makes a great product for rotation, for roach control, large roach control, many applications. Fire ant usage. It was originally used. Amdro was the original product for ant control, for fire ant control in this. So it has very little. Just in 2016 we have a new document out of the insecticide resistance and diminished secondary kill performance of bait formulations against German cockroaches. And it documents the first evidence of hydramethylnon resistance in any insect. I mean, 36 years later, we're not getting widespread resistance of this product. So the registration eligibility decision was just updated, and it was updated in September of 1998. So it's about every 15 years or so that they update, eligibility of products that have been pre-registered. And you can get a link to that study. I've got enough studies here to choke a Clydesdale or a small elephant. So you've got a lot of links, a lot of information to digest regarding hydramethylnon. And the fate of hydramethylnon in the soil is one of those things that we have to consider with granular bait formulations outside, because it breaks down. Primary degradation is photolysis. The soil photolysis half-life is about 5 days. So if it touches the soil and it's in there and it starts to rain, immediately after it rains, if you've got a hydramethylnon granular bait formulation that you put outside, well, immediately after it gets wet or rain, that bait is toast. It's gone. So bait outside is not intended to be used for long residual value. But the value is in that once the bait is taken, it starts destroying colonies. And so that's the advantage of baits, that even if the colony might be on a tree, on a property next door, we got a lot of zero lot properties that are very, very difficult to manage pests because the nests are nowhere on that property. And I use bait extensively because of those issues to knock out ant populations in these environments, understanding that I'm going to apply it on a day that we don't expect it to rain for at least a day, and that the sprinkler system is not going to go off. So we're able to use this product in rotation very, very effectively, whether we're using Max Force Complete or we're using Extinguish for fire ants. We are able to use this product very, very, very effectively for a knockdown. So it does work well in field conditions. It is very, very unstable in sunlight. If you use the bait outside, like a gel bait or something like that, know that the half-life of this product exposed to heat and light is about 12 hours. In temperatures 125.6 degrees or higher, that's what it's going to be. It's about 12 hours. So if you're doing this like in Arizona desert where it gets very, very hot, the temperature, or you're doing it inside a container or something, a truck, I don't know where you're applying this product. Understand the temperature is going to destroy it, especially if you're using the gel formulation in kitchens. If you're using it near the stoves, it's going to get destroyed very, very, very quickly. So avoid using it in those areas. In the absence of sunlight, decomposition is relatively non-existent. So if you're using a granular product and you're applying it to a void, inside a structure, crack and crevice, void, behind a wall where light is not there, it's going to last you a good amount of time. We're getting fabulous results with Max Force Complete for American cockroach knockdowns in properties that are very, very infested with American cockroaches, because we're applying it to the voids and we're putting it inside stations, which is something else that you can do to decrease the amount, increase the longevity, decrease the degradation, and decrease the amount of granular bait you have to use for a lot of insects. There's a study of using insects in bait stations for increasing their longevity. I got a study on that. On the outdoor bait stations, we can use it on the B&G insect stations, like for carpenter ant control in gardens and landscapes. We put those stations inside the landscape and we apply the bait inside those stations, and we get very, very good long-term control where it's not affected by weather or by light. And we get a very, very good use. I've also used it in the FBS fly stations. You can take those FBS-1 fly stations and bolt them to the wall or bolt them to a fence post underneath a garden or something. And you can put a bait in there, and man, do you get control of ants, even roaches out in the landscape, because they can easily get in and get out of there. They're also really good weatherproofing on them to control the fly bait, but you can use them for insect bait. We love doing that. And indoor, we use the Desect bait station by Rockwell Labs to get, because you're not allowed to put Max Force Complete other than void, crack, and crevice or in a station indoors. So we're able to put those indoors in many, many facilities where we can put them behind cabinets, or we can put them behind refrigeration units and things like that. Why is this so important? To understand the issue of diffusion of innovation and the diffusion of innovation theory. When dealing with customers, this is a study a theory that is used by everyone who understands the market, understanding the marketplace, including chemical manufacturers and pest control people. Everyone falls into one of these categories, whether you are a business consumer, whether you are an individual consumer, whether you're an applicator, whether you're a pest control operator. You're going to fall into one of these, and understanding who your customer is, understanding who you are, is very vitally important to developing new strategies and products and procedures and services for your clients, and knowing how to market to them. There's 5 major buyers, and the first one are called the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. And let's explain each one of these so you understand where your customers are in relationship to the services you offer them. First are the innovators. The innovators are those people who will buy anything that's new and first. They want to be first. These are the ones that bought giant screen TVs when they were $7,000. And there was very few people to buy them. These are the people that they understand, marketers understand that they're going to buy anything first because they have the money to buy it. And they're going to want to be the first. These are the people that first stand in line for iPhones, for iPads, for any new product. They'll spend a week in line if they have to get it. Those are the early innovators. The people who buy Teslas. Elon Musk understood this when he was building this company, and he actually mentioned this, is we're going to get these early innovators. They're the ones who are going to buy this product, make it popular, and then we're going to develop other products that are less expensive to the, to enter in with the early adopters and the early majority. And he did. He sold $68,000 to $100,000 vehicle, and all the, the socialites and in Hollywood bought it. And now he's building a car which he's got millions of dollars for orders for, and he doesn't even have this car built, and he already has, tens of millions of dollars in orders. And those are the early adopters, that 13% of the market. Innovators are only about 2.5% of the marketplace. So anytime you're going to launch a new product, understand that it's going to be very slow for this product to take off, because it's brand new in the marketplace. So 2.5% of people are going to immediately buy your product, but that's as best as you can hope for. And then as time goes on, these early adopters will start in the marketplace. Then you get to the early adopters, that people that buy it in that second generation. I bought an iPhone 3, okay? And then once I got hooked on the iPhone 3, then I bought an iPhone 4 and an iPhone 5 and then finally an iPhone 6. And now, we got the tablets and we got everything. It's iPhone. And I probably fall on the business development side on wanting to be one of those innovators that are one of the first ones to buy new pest control products, new pest control equipment, to try out and see if we can penetrate a marketplace with a new product. We're very quick to adapt to new products. And then the early majority is that 34% of buyers in the marketplace, that after the innovators and the early adopters have bought it and the price starts to go down, they're able to buy it, and therefore once they've seen that everybody else is jumping on that bandwagon. Okay. Then there's the late majority, which is about 34% of the marketplace also. And those are the people that are now, after all of this hoopla, 10 years later, are starting to buy iPhones simply because, the smartphones, nobody makes a BlackBerry really anymore with a lot of buttons on it, and they're not buying it. So they're learning to say, well, I have to get it. I have to get a smartphone because that's what everybody has and nothing else is available. And I have to get a smartphone, but they end up probably getting an Android, which is a lot cheaper than an iPhone. And then there's the laggards. These are the guys that in the pest control industry that are still looking, they still have DDT somewhere hidden. The only reason they still, they don't use anything else and they're using their B&G exclusively. And there's no other product out there. There's no such thing as baiting. There's no such thing as void dusting. There's no such thing as using any modern product. I know guys that are still using organophosphates that have been banned. They're still using them. They refuse to use anything else. They're gonna baseboard spray everything regardless of what the information, the new technology, it doesn't matter. And as far as the customer is concerned, they're laggards too. If a matter of fact, if you do not spray their house, they feel they got robbed and cheated by you as a technician. Understanding where these customers are. My customers fall in those innovator and early adopters and early majority. That's the majority. Our customers are not laggards. They're not late majority. They don't want those old pesticides. They don't want anything to do with them. They've done enough study on them. They don't want organophosphates in the home. They don't want baseboard spraying. They want to go to the new stuff. That's who we're targeting. And so when you understand that, then you can understand how a product like Hydramethylnon, which was first registered in the United States in August of 1980 by the American Cyanamide Company. Most of you have never heard of the American Cyanamide Company. Well, the American Cyanamide Company was founded on July 22nd, 1907 by Frank Washburn. And this company in the 70s and 80s was one of the top 100 companies in the country, employing more than 100,000 people worldwide. This is the company that also gave us Formica and Pine Sol, by the way. But it started out as a fertilizer company when they figured out they could make an inexpensive fertilizer with phosphoric acid combined with nitrogen and cyanamide and produced ammonium phosphate. And this is how really they got launched. So the American Cyanamide Company registered, okay, right after they created the product in 1980. They registered Amdro roach control stations in November 12th of 1986 with a Hydramethylnon 1.05%. This came in 8 child-proof bait stations, and they claim to control roaches for 3 months guaranteed. So they register Amdro. Now, in September 23rd of 1992, so we're talking 8 years later, they register Amdro Roach Control PCO gel in 1992. Hydramethylnon, 2%. And in 1997, June 20th of 1997, Combat registers the roach killing system, which included hydromethylnon, 2%. This is, we're talking 5 years later. A PCO product made in 92 for pest control operators. And they launched the Combat Killing System in 97 in the marketplace for residential use, for do-it-yourselfers. But it is not until April 29 of 2009 that Bayer reintroduces MaxForce Professional Insect Control Roach Killer Bait at a hydromethylnon at 2.15%. We're talking from 92 to 97, 5 more years, actually to 2009. So we're talking 92 to 2002. We got 10 years until 7 more years. 17 years later, MaxForce comes out. It took more than 10 years from the launch to get even pest control professionals to accept it. What does that tell you about the diffusion of innovation with pest control operators? They're very, very slow to adapt anything new. I mean, it took forever. I mean, customers were using this in homes before pest control operators will even accept it as a viable method of controlling German roaches. Then, now in 2016, we've got Ortho Roach Bait, hydromethylnon, 2%, January 19th of 2016. It just got registered. Basically, they're going after again the market, the home improvement market, registering a product that directly competes with Combat. 36 years after the introduction of Hydramethylnon, they're still developing new applications for it. They're still, because they understand that the market hasn't been fully penetrated by roach gel. They understand that pest control operators are still refusing to use gels and baits. 24 years after the first roach gel bait for professional pest control operators, they still refuse to use it. I still have pest control operators that I talk to on a daily basis that for German roach control, they still insist on baseboard spraying and spraying cabinets and spraying. They won't even use crack and crevice. They still get a B&G and stick it in there in the cabinets. They will still use a ULV in a kitchen and completely saturate the kitchen with a pyrethrin. They will still use an Actazole and completely to flush out pests with pyrethrin. They refuse to use bait. I mean, absolutely refuse. And so I still 100% of my customers that I talk to don't understand how to use a roach gel bait. By the evidence that I take pictures and I find caulking of gel bait, I have a picture of it, which I'm going to put up, which is incredible, of a string of roach gel bait placed on the floor in front of a dishwasher. And they basically moved it back and forth in a wiggly line. And they made this row of 4 feet of gel bait in front of the dishwasher. I mean, ridiculous. They don't understand how it works. Professional pest control people that still don't understand how secondary and tertiary kill or horizontal transfer or horizontal transmission works. And I've got a podcast that I did on that, on the pesky 6 roach bait studies reveal how horizontal transfer work in secondary and tertiary kill. I mean, it's unbelievable how slow the industry is to adapt to new methods and new techniques. And a lot of it has to do with the cost of the additional labor of the initial application. And I always say that if you don't have time to do it right the first time, how the heck are you going to have time to do it over again as a free service? And it really does astonish me how slow this is. This is why it's so important that you understand which product. Because understand this, if you go into business now and you're going to go and adapt, 20-year-old, 30-year-old techniques, you're going to end up with those late majority and laggard as customers who the only reason they still pay for pest control is because they've done it all their life. Where the majority of people using pest control is shrinking because of the products available to them directly, even though they don't know how to use it. I mean, I find roach gel bait with roach gel tablets and roach stations and dust all over the place, all over the station and all over the tablets, because they put it all in the same place. Like they'll throw it behind the refrigerator and they throw the station back there and they throw the bait and they throw the tablet and they throw the dust and then they go and they spray it, totally destroying everything they've put back there, so nothing works. I mean, if they only figured out that all you have to do is put the dust behind the wall, seal that hole, and then treat all the crack and crevices with the gel, place the stations, and if you still want to have the tablets, you can put them back there somewhere, and don't spray anymore, and if you don't spray, you'll actually get control. How many times do I go in a kitchen and I do nothing but gel bait, IGR, dust bait, and dust behind the walls and the voids. And in 30 days, they have no more roaches. I don't care how infested that kitchen is. You see, this is where we are. And if you're going into pest control and you've been in pest control, understand that you're going to have a heck of a time changing your customers to more modern techniques to get better control, because the resistance is going to come from the customer. The overwhelming amount of ignorance that customers have, and I think I keep saying it, the companies like Bayer, companies like Syngenta need to take a clue from the pill manufacturers that are advertising Viagra and advertising Cialis and advertising all these products directly to the consumer, where they need to talk to their doctor about it. They need to go out into the public marketplace and educate customers how spraying is not necessary, how these new and modern products, if they contact their PCO and they demand it from their PCO, imagine what kind of a marketplace they could have. Just a thought. So, guys, I hope that you have a fantastic 4th of July. I hope that you enjoy yourselves with your families and that you get out there and you start making a killing. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting PestGeekPodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.